And we're about to get started with a great presentation, which is How to Pick a Cat Tool and Not Regret It Later from Anna Iokhimovich. I'm sorry if I pronounced that or mispronounced that. But before we do, again, just wanted to extend a big thanks, encourage you to post on your preferred social media channel, really participate in the community. And I think that what we've got going on here is fantastic. We're bringing people together from all over the world to discuss, language-related items, issues, topics, all these great things. So thank you for that. And with that, Anna will be coming in and giving you a wonderful presentation, which I'm very, very interested in hearing. So do we have Anna?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, Bryan. Hi guys.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing great, thank you. It's a unexpectedly sunny day in Estonia today.
Fantastic.
Broadcasting from my home in Tallinn. And can you guys please tell me if you can see my screen now?
We can, absolutely. And I don't want to actually, be in your presentation any more longer. So I'm going to let you take the rails and go with it. And I'll pop back in a little bit.
Okie doke. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me start. My name is Anna Iokhimovich. Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Iokhimovich. I'm a head of localization in an Estonian company called Paxful. We are peer-to-peer marketplace for trading Bitcoins. And today I'm going to be talking about, yet again, TMS tools. And I think that this topic has a very interesting, point of view in this case, in my presentation, because any translation management system per se is kind of an aquarium, okay? So there are many inhabitants, like creatures, they have to cooperate, coexist there somehow, and everyone wants their own things, they have their own goals to achieve, and they want specific functionality from translation management systems. So today, let's dream together about what an ideal environment for all of us would be looking like. I believe that this speech will be useful for those who are choosing their first or next translation management systems, for linguists, choosing their first or next CAT tools, or just willing to learn more about that. If you are a company developing your own TMS tool, or maybe you are developing TMS tool for internal use, which is quite an often thing also. Or maybe you're just a student, or you're studying localization as a subject, you want to learn more about what's going on under the hood. I believe that's again for you. So let me briefly introduce myself. I'm from Tallinn, Estonia, working Paxful for 9 years in localization by now, not just in Paxful, in different companies. Please feel free to join me, to friend me on LinkedIn. I'm very open for any kind of connections. And so let's dream together. And before we start, I'd like to give a special thank you to Igor Afanasyev, who's going to be a host in this conference also. Igor and I used to work together in Evernote several years ago, and I'm flattered to have an amazing experience of working with him. Okay, so TMS. First of all, any translation management system has a bunch of users, which we can group in 3 big categories: translators, project managers, and people who can be called localization owners or heads of departments, group product owners, whoever is in charge of budgets, of resources, of vision, and building the big picture. And I'd like to talk about TMS from perspective of each of these groups here. So as a translator, what do you want as a translator? As a translator, I want the tool to be easy to use as much as possible, because I might be working with different clients. Each of them have their own TMS tools, and God knows, I don't want to waste my time on, learning how they work. So I want the UI to be as much intuitive as possible. Plus, I'd like to have a comprehensive user documentation. So I just go and Google up like for quick help and solve things by myself without bothering someone. Ideally, there should be a support, like a very, how to say it, human-friendly and fast responding and, actually taking care of users. Again, we're dreaming here, okay? I'm not saying that the TMS tool that we're working with now fits into all these fields, but we are quite happy with our choice right now. What else? To know to do my job well as a translator, I want to know the context, right? So ideally, the TMS I'm working with should have a leave file preview functionality. Like, I'm translating and I can see straight away how the translated content going to be looking like in the result content, a web page or email template or whatsoever. Also, what's very important, I wish I had this functionality like 9 years ago when I just started, is a possibility for a translator to ask a question and get an answer quickly from whoever, project manager, a developer. Sometimes it's also applicable. That's just amazing. I think most of the tools now provide this functionality. It's just awesome. In context translation, ideally, it's a kind of alternative for leave file preview, but more integrated with the web platform, for example, I'm translating, so I can navigate through the pages of the website and translate all the strings that I see there untranslated and see how they will be shown to user, with all those ugly truncations and overlappings and length issues, layout issues, so I can catch them on the very early stage of translating stuff. Plus, ideally, I'd like to be able to see translations in other languages as well, because sometimes I'd like to know how a certain string is translated in other languages from my own language group. For example, say as a Russian speaker, I wouldn't mind to see Bulgarian translations, Ukrainian translations, Belarusian translations, just to be on the safe side in case of any doubts. Also, ideally, I would like to have tasks, okay? And I want my tasks to be prioritized. I want them to be sorted by deadlines, by priority, and I want to have them displayed at a very, very visible place in the UI without having to, do 10 clicks till I get to my task list. Also, it would be wonderful if, as a translator, I just can click in the tab and get straight to the content that I have to translate, but not just the strings included in the tasks, but to a file that I'm translating. Sometimes it's really, really annoying not to have this possibility. Also, ideally, I'd like to know how much money I might be earning from completing a certain task. Just, a rough estimation, because, along the way, as I start translating, my TM gets populated with translations. So the cost of every new segment might be like smaller, but at least some rough estimation would be very, very sweet. So since we're talking about money, I'd like to know how much I'm making at any moment, So ideally, I just would like to understand how statistics are calculated, how much I'm earning for, specific kind of work, like translating, editing machine translated content, or proofreading other linguists translation. And I'd like just to have a button somewhere on my personal dashboard, just click there and see my, score. Okay, so by now you have earned in this month, I don't know, 100 euros and 50 cents. Unfortunately, I haven't seen this functionality in many tools, but would be so awesome. Also, ideally, I'd like to know how many hours I have spent on some proofreading or LQT. Not all translation management systems provide functionality to track per hour work. And that would be so awesome to have it just combined in one place so I can check my earnings straight away from clicking just one button. And of course, I'd like to be able to export all these calculations all together in one click to, maybe to have a generated invoice just generated on the fly, or maybe I can export all this information to, I don't know, Excel, Google Sheets, whatever, where I can just easily copy paste all the data into my invoice. Well, dream with me. Next one. I want to earn more, okay? So I want to do more in less time. So of course, I want to have a possibility to use a translation memory, which is easy to upload to TMS, which is easy to download if I'm translating this or whatever, like offsite, which is easy to leverage, to edit and share. For example, it would be wonderful if I could select not to use translations in the translation memory submitted before a certain date, or submitted not by me, or there are so many use cases which we could have played around with, but unfortunately I don't see much possibilities in the translation memory systems I've seen so far. Machine translation. As a translator, ideally, I would like to have a selection to use it or not. But to be able to do this, I have to build a trust connection with I might be using it, and then making it perfect, humanizing and stuff. But ideally, I'd like to have this possibility. The glossary. One more thing, the glossary. Of course, you must have it, okay? It's an industry standard and it must be uploadable, downloadable, editable, and human-friendly to work with, easily accessible, with all the terms well explained, and each term might have several possibilities to get translated. Well, that's okay, sometimes it's applicable. Also, yeah, I can export it for my own use, and I can add my own terms without bothering someone, without bothering project manager, without requesting for adding a new term, without bothering my peers, my other translators who might see my newly added term, which I added just for myself. And poor guys like peers, they will see it, will have to translate it. I'd like to avoid it. So it's just my own private tool. I want it to be very, very helpful. Also, for offline translation possibilities, I want to have a very simple and easy to click, one-to-click possibility to upload and download XLI files. And I want to still somehow, even with offline translation, have a possibility to see the context info awesome. And finally, I don't want to break a thing, okay? So I do want to have my strings validated for any kind of issues, placeholders, tag, line breaks, non-breaking spaces, you name it. Plus, I want this validation to be running not only when I translate in the TMS, but also when I import their translated XLI files. So, so there is no even a single tiny chance that something might be wrong with my translations from technical perspective, of course. Also, I'd like to have those validation rules negotiable with localization project manager. There are so many corner cases in different languages, you know it. All those breaks between percentage line, all those, small things for my language, and I can discuss it and negotiate with project managers.
I think we're having a little bit of connectivity issues, and I'm not sure if you can actually hear me at the moment. No, looks like we lost Anna, unfortunately. Hopefully she'll come back in a moment or two. Meanwhile, I know that we had some questions. The one that came in originally I think I might be able to shed some light on, which was as the translation memories are populated, are the freelancers, for example, or the translators earning less money? It's one of, I guess, a question that can be answered in a couple of different ways. And this might be basic for some, but what I'd like to mention with respect to this question is it's not necessarily that they're earning less. Now, most translation companies and or end clients that are using translation technology do have a tiered pricing scheme. So what this means is that for content that has never yet been translated, there will be a particular rate established. Subsequently, if there is similar content that you're then presented with that has a match from the translation memory. So a very easy example is, let's say the house is red. You have a new string that comes in, or a new segment that is called the house is blue. You have a 75% match, and typically the percentages themselves yield a lesser rate. So that being said, it's not necessarily that they're earning less, although there is a tiered scheme. So it depends on perspective on how you look at it. All right, hopefully that answered that question. We do have some other questions that came in. I think that we have concerning no minimum fees. I think this is more related to the previous one. I'm just trying to look through. Yeah, for continuous localization. So Samir will be able to take care of that one for you. I will definitely let him answer the continuous localization aspects. Anna's back.
Hi guys.
Hello.
How long I have been away? Seems like I had some connection issues.
For me, it felt like forever.
Sorry?
So the last slide that we saw, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think you were just going through a couple of final points, but I'm not sure. So if you'd like to, I think it was point 6, if I recall correctly.
Okay, sorry guys. Something went wrong with Digital Estonia apparently. Sorry.
Not a problem. You can feel free to resume. You still have some time left. So.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so I'll just very quickly review what I have been talking about. So any translator doesn't want to break anything, okay? So validation of strings for placeholders tags must absolutely take place, no matter if translator is translating on-site or offline and just upload translated content. Plus, it's a very good practice if you can configure QA checks, the validation rules on the level of project, or maybe bunch of projects, and you can fine-tune them by language. That would be so awesome. Okay. Also, as a translator, I obviously don't want to miss any notifications, like important information about new tasks, new strings to translate, and I'd like to receive them through a channel that I personally select, okay, like a email or Slack, or I don't know, maybe Messenger, Telegram, whatever you name it. And finally, I'd like to configure notifications by myself as a translator, because some guys, they need more information, some others, they just avoid those flooding emails or Slack notifications. But it has to be personalized, it has to be customized. I truly believe that. Please, guys, tell me you can still hear me.
Absolutely.
Okay, hooray.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I just don't know how else to validate if I'm still there or not. Okay, thanks, Bryan. Thanks.
Not a problem.
Alrighty, so translators parts are kind of done. So we have 2 more roles to look through, and I'll try to make it as quick as possible so we have a little bit time for Q&A in the end.
Perfect.
Let's take a look. Yeah, great, thank you. So localization project manager, the multi-handed Shiva of the whole
Sorry,
industry.
Anna, don't mean to interrupt. Would you be able to share your screen, please?
Oh my God, I'm not sharing. Jesus. Whoa.
Thank you very much.
This is what happens when you are giving a speech from home, not in front of the live audience, right? So, am I sharing it now?
You are, or will be in one moment. There you go. Thank you very much.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, anyways. Bryan, do I get it right that all these slides will be shared later on with the participants?
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
Oh, great. So, all right. So if you guys missed something, you're very welcome to look through the slides. I do believe this checklist might be beneficial for someone here. I honestly hope I had it like 10 years before I started here in localization, so I would have avoided so many awkward moments during the work, life. Okay, so here we go again. Localization project manager. What we poor fellows localization project managers want. First of all, I want to know what's going on with all my projects. I might have 20 of them. I honestly don't want to click into every single project to check if everything is okay. I just want to have one big dashboard, like a health monitor, telling me which languages are on track, which are behind, which projects have that deadlines or milestones, which don't. Are we on track or not? How many words did we have lately in each of the projects? How many words did we have altogether? Like, I really want to know this. How much we spent, for example, budget-wise, on translating a certain project or all of them in last week, in last month. That was so awesome. I wish I had it someday. What is the selected workflow for a certain project? Some projects are like task-based and they have deadlines and milestones, and releases don't happen very often, or that content is not released to a development cycle, like marketing emails, okay? Or maybe we have a continuous localization, which means that strings come in like every day, I don't know, 5 times, and translations are updated on production like equal, count of times per day, like 5 times. It's important for me to plan my work and to plan work of my team. Is machine translation available for a certain project or not? Who works on those projects? Which linguists are working there? Are they active? Have they disappeared? Are they gone? Do I need to poke someone? What's going on? What integrations are available for a certain project? Like, do I have Google Drive integration here enabled or not? And how many unanswered questions or new questions do I have personally to go and click on and answer to them? Maybe in some projects it's like 2, maybe in some projects it's 200. I want to prioritize my time, and I want to know how many validation failures I'm having in every project. So in my dream life, I do have a dashboard showing me all this information. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anything like this yet. But if you guys have, please write your comments in the comment section. I'll be reading all of them after the speech and would be very happy to learn about something like that. Next one. I want to work with files easily. Okay, we all know, let's be realistic, automation is not the case everywhere. There is still a lot of manual work, like uploading files, downloading files, uploading files, downloading files. So ideally, I'd like to do it very, very, very easily, or ideally maybe even have someone to do it instead of me. Like, if I have a stakeholder ordering a translation from my team, why don't they just go and upload the files by themselves without bothering me, huh? That would be really cool. Also, ideally, I would like to define a structure of folders in my project which would enable me to manage very, very how to say it, like, okay, to fine tune the tasks allocation, the files selected for translation. The more folders I can create, the more subfolders I can create, the better, honestly. Like, that's my personal opinion. Also, I want to be able to hide certain files from translation or to hide certain strings from translation. Also, I'd like to create a file straight there in the TMS tool without having to create them somewhere, in docx and then upload it back. Plus, task management. I want to manage tasks, and I want to manage them with as less effort as possible. So ideally, I want to have a set of linguists assigned to a certain project. So when I create a task, I don't even have to select them for, to assign them to a task. and all the tasks will be assigned automatically to predefined persons. Of course, I'd like to have a dashboard with all the tasks per project, or to see all the tasks assigned to a certain person. To see a dashboard showing me information about any of my linguists would save me so much time from, having to chat to people in Slack to see, looks like you haven't been like active in a project for 3 days. What's going on? Are you on vacation? We're losing you and whatsoever. Dashboard. Also, it would be so nice to have possibility to group the tasks and bulk edit them, like assign deadlines, add files to them and stuff. I haven't seen this functionality yet anywhere. If you guys know that any TMS does it, please let me know. And finally, of course, everyone wants it, integration with Jira. My current problem is that I cannot create a ticket in Jira and create subtickets and link it to tasks in our current translation memory system, translation management system, but I wish I could do it. I wish I could have a more tight integration between TMS and Jira, not necessarily Jira, Trello, or whatever ticketing system you guys are using. Also,
sorry, Anna, I don't want to interrupt, and I know you've still got some slides to go, but we're almost at time, so I don't know if you want to either just recap quickly, or if we can move into some questions. I apologize for the inconvenience.
No problem, no problem. Plus there was internet connection issues and stuff. Okay, so very briefly, I do honestly, genuinely recommend to read through all these check marks for project managers and for localization owners and localization owners ones will be mostly focusing on scaling the team, monitoring its performance, seeing the big picture, managing costs, and building a very close alignment with development process. Right now.
Oh no, you cut out a little bit again.
Oh boy,
all right.
Am I still?
You are. How's this sound? And I don't want to interrupt, but perhaps we can ensure that Smartcat has a copy of the the presentation, so Alok from home can actually go ahead and share this with everybody and make sure that people can communicate with you via LinkedIn, because I believe you mentioned that originally, should they have any questions. We also have the community as well, which I would appreciate if you participate in. I'm pretty sure some questions are going to be popping up there as well.
Okay.
Anna, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Bryan. I'm really sorry for but thanks anyways for having me. Let's keep in touch on LinkedIn. I'm looking forward to answer them. Yep.
Great. Thank you very much. It's the world we live in. I'm sorry, everybody. The connection, unfortunately, kind of was a little bit dodgy at the times.